Keith Lehman.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Please raise your right hand.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, and please be seated.
May I inquire?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state and spell your full name for the court reporter?
Keith Lamar Lehman, Keith Lamar Lehman.
And Dr. Lehman, where do you work?
I work at the State Medical Examiner's office here in Georgia. It's part of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
And specifically, where is your physical office?
Most of the time I work out of the headquarters office, which is in the Atlanta area.
Okay. Do you occasionally have to travel for that position?
Yes.
Did you ever have to travel down here to the Savannah location or Pooler Coastal Crime Laboratory?
Yes.
And is that part of your job as well?
Yes.
What are your duties at the crime laboratory or the state crime lab?
Yeah, well, my duties are mostly centered around the performance of autopsies. Autopsy is basically an examination of the body after death in order to make certain determinations, including determining why the person died. And so I perform autopsies and then do other activities related to that, such as testifying in court. We talk to local investigators about cases to gather information. We review medical records. We have residents and fellows that rotate through our office, and we're involved in teaching them, basically teaching them how to perform autopsies and do the same kind of stuff that I do.
How long have you been doing this?
For 26 years.
Has it always been in that role?
Yes.
And are you a licensed physician?
Yes.
What kind of a doctor are you?
I'm a forensic pathologist.
Okay. And does that mean basically the job description you just gave us?
Yes.
And as a physician, where are you licensed?
I'm licensed to practice medicine here in Georgia.
How long have you been practicing medicine?
I've had my full medical license since 1999, so 26 years.
And you've always done this?
Yes.
Are you still in that capacity right now?
Yes.
Where did you receive your training in pathology?
Yeah, I successfully completed a residency training at the University of North Carolina hospital system. And during my 5 years doing studies there, I did a special year of study called a fellowship in the field of forensic pathology. It's basically the field that I work in now. And then after my training in North Carolina, I did another year of training, this time at the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office in Atlanta, which was another year of fellowship training in forensic pathology.
And can you explain to the jury the difference between a forensic pathologist and a coroner?
Yeah. In Georgia, the coroners are elected officials. The coroners are usually not physicians. They are involved with the county coroner's office. So they're like the first line of investigation of a death, along with oftentimes the local police agency. So the coroner's involved in doing the initial death investigation, and then if they feel like an autopsy may be warranted, a forensic autopsy may be warranted, they'll call us at the state medical examiner's office and talk to us, and then if we agree with them, we'll have them send the body to us, and then we'll perform an autopsy. One of the medical examiners in our office, one of the forensic pathologists, will perform an autopsy. And then at the conclusion of the autopsy, we will give our opinion as to what caused the death, and then we'll let the coroner's office know, and then the coroner is the one who fills out the death certificate.
So
So you don't personally prepare the death certificate, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And if the coroner has a body that they want you to consider, they would reach out to you? Is that what you said?
Yes.
And is that always the procedure?
Yeah, almost always. Sometimes we'll get notified about a death by law enforcement, but the vast majority of the time it's the coroner's office who gives us the information and asks us about the case.
Okay. And can you describe for the jury you described where you went to school and that information. Did you do any training when you came to the Georgia Bureau to the crime laboratory, the state medical examiner's office?
Well, I in my last year of fellowship training at the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office, which is in the Atlanta area, I rotated over to the GBI for 2 or 3 months and did some of my training during that year at the GBI.
And was that all that experience that you just described? Was that prior to you starting performing autopsies?
Yeah, well, we as a fellow in training, we do perform autopsies under the supervision of some of the medical examiners there. But that was before I started doing unsupervised autopsies.
Okay. And at some point they basically cleared you to do it on your own. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that now on your own?
For 26 years.
Okay. Specifically, have you ever testified before as a medical expert in the field of forensic pathology?
Yes.
Approximately how many times?
Approximately 300 times.
What counties?
Gosh, a lot of counties in Georgia. I haven't testified in all of them, but many of the counties. I've testified here before.
Okay. Have you ever been denied expert status as a forensic pathologist?
No.
At this time, Your Honor, I would seek to introduce this witness as a forensic pathologist expert.
Questions from the defense?
No questions and no objections.
All right, then he is qualified as an expert in the field of forensic pathology.
Now, I'm going to direct your attention to December 6th of 2022 and December 9th of 2022. Were you called upon to perform an autopsy on a person at the request of Special Agent Tracy Sands of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and the coroner in this county?
Yes.
And as a result of that request, did you in fact perform that autopsy?
Yes, I did.
Did this case get assigned a unique case number associated with that medical examination?
Yes.
And I don't know if I asked you this. Can you explain to the jury just what an autopsy actually is?
Yes, so an autopsy is basically an examination of a body after death in order to make certain determinations, including determining what caused the death.
And specifically, you indicated that this case had a case number. Can you tell us what that number was?
Yes, it is 2022-6007185.
Excuse me. Your Honor, may we approach?
Is that case number unique for each autopsy you perform?
Yeah. Each case that we go with, each autopsy gets its own number.
And is that the same in every crime laboratory in the state of Georgia that you work with? Meaning if you're in Atlanta, you would get a separate case number for each case, just the same as if you were here in the local area?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the purpose of that case number?
Well, it's a way to identify the case, and so all of the evidence and all of the reports associated with any sort of examination within the crime lab, that all gets linked to this case number, so that all the reports can be put together into one place, and so you can find from one case all of the reports. You know where the report is and which for a report which case it goes with.
How many autopsies a year approximately do you perform?
Per year, I would say it varies. It's varied depending on how busy we were in our staffing. I'd say I performed at the GBI, probably anywhere from maybe 210 to 450 autopsies a year.
A
Good
year?
range. Yeah.
And is an autopsy always associated with a criminal investigation?
No.
Can you tell the jury when an autopsy might be performed that's not associated with a criminal case?
Yeah. So for forensic autopsies that would be ordered by the state to be performed, there's certain types of deaths that we might autopsy. You know, everybody that dies doesn't get an autopsy. So certain examples of cases that would get a forensic autopsy might be relatively young people who die suddenly and unexpectedly and don't have a medical history that reasonably explains their death. Somebody who dies and is suspected to possibly be a death related to a drug overdose. You know, certain types of suicides will autopsy. And some of the examples we might see are hangings, self-inflicted gunshot wounds, people that die from intentional drug overdoses. And many of the deaths in custody, in police custody, will autopsy. And then deaths that are suspicious, in other words, deaths where the case appears to be or appears to possibly be a homicide. Those are autopsied as well. So those are some examples of the types of cases that we might bring in for autopsy.
And in this case, you indicated that case number and that came in through law enforcement, is that right?
I'm sorry?
This case came in through law enforcement, though. It was not one of those other types. It was actually a criminal investigation.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ultimately perform an autopsy at the time of that receipt of the body?
I performed autopsy on December the 6th and December the 9th of that year, 2022.
At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to mark this as State's Exhibit 1.62. It is an 8-page document. I'm showing it to the council. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Take a look at that, please, Doctor. Do you recognize that document, Doctor?
Yes, I do.
What is that document?
This appears to be a copy of the autopsy report I prepared for this case.
And did you prepare that actual report in its entirety?
Yes,
And is that a duplicate of the original report that was prepared?
it does appear to be.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to seek to tender State's Exhibit, I believe it's 1.62.
Any objection? No objection, Your Honor.
It is admitted.
Thank you. May I?
Yes.
Doctor, if at any time you need to review your report, can you just please let us know and I'll be happy to provide that to you, okay? Now, you indicated that you performed an autopsy on December 6th of 2022, is that right?
Yes.
Do you recall, if you recall, who was with you at that time?
I don't specifically recall. It would have been certainly we would have had some of the assistants there in the office. There was GBI crime scene specialist Brett Dickerson and Liberty County Sheriff's Office Detective Jack Frost did attend the autopsy.
Would you have documented that in your report?
Yes.
And why do you document items in a report?
Well, so when I get asked about it later, I can answer the question.
Be fair to say with 400 autopsies a year approximately, you don't necessarily remember every single detail of each autopsy that you perform?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
And do you document things as you're doing them during the course of an autopsy?
Yes.
Do you create medical notes?
Yes.
And are those preserved?
The notes are, some of the notes are preserved, yes, into the file.
Okay.
Some of them aren't.
Okay. And would those be done for the same reasons to assist you in reviewing your materials if you needed to?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to that autopsy, can you tell the members of the jury what you do when you first receive a body at the medical examiner's office for an autopsy?
Yeah, so the initial step is we photograph, we take initial photographs of the body. We'll photograph the body bag tag that comes in. The body bags will be sealed, and before we open the body bag, we'll photograph the body bag tag to show how the bag was labeled. If the body is, if it's the type of case where we're going to do x-rays, we may go ahead and do x-rays at that time as well. And then the next step would be to open the body bag. And then really before we do any significant manipulation of the body, we'll go ahead and take photographs again just to document the condition of the body, as it was when we started the autopsy. And then after that, we'll begin examination of the body, which may include, depending on the case, recovery of evidence. If there's clothing on the body, we'll remove the clothing. Sometimes there's medical devices on the body from a person receiving emergency medical treatment. We'll remove those and document those things as well. And then we'll do the external examination, basically looking at the outside of the body. We're looking for any evidence of natural disease or trauma or any other findings that might help us understand what happened to the person. And if we find potentially important things during our examination, we'll stop and take photographs of those.
And can you explain to the jury what a medical placard is?
A placard is it's basically a structure where we can put some sort of inscription. We use a placard basically as a label in our photographs, and some of our photographs that shows the case number, the unique case number for this case that we were talking about before.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to ask to approach the witness, and I'm going to ask to show him the state's exhibits 1.27 through 1.61. Doctor, did you have a chance to, and counsel has been provided a photocopy of each of these exhibits in addition, Your Honor, for the record. Did you have a chance to review all of those before your testimony here today?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And those photographs, are those some of the photographs that you took during the course of the autopsy?
Yes.
Are all of those a fair and accurate representation of the photographs that were taken during the course of the autopsy, both on, just so we're clear, December 6th of 2022 and December 9th of 2022?
Yeah, I reviewed the sets of photographs shortly before coming in here, and during my review at that time, they did appear to be accurate representations.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would seek to tender all of those exhibits.
Any objection? No objection, Your Honor. All right, they're admitted without objection.
Thank you.
That's 1.27 all the way through 1.61.
Correct, Your Honor. Would it be fair to say, Doctor, that there are far more photographs than what I've handed you?
Yes, there are significantly more.
How many photographs do you take? Does it depend on the case?
Oh, it absolutely does. Yes, it can vary quite a bit.
So, in this case, what photographs did you take of your autopsy? Do you recall what portions of the autopsy? Would it be the entire autopsy, just part of it? How does that work for the jury?
Yes, so we took many photographs on the outside of the body, and then in addition we took some photographs, significantly fewer, on the inside of the body. So once we open the body during the autopsy, we start out just looking at the outside, then we'll open the body, we'll open the chest and the abdomen, look inside, remove the internal organs there. Same for the neck structures and same for inside the head. And so we did take some internal body photographs, in the region of the head, yes, but mostly external photographs in this case.
Okay. And the photographs of the interior of the head, can you explain to the jury why you would take photographs of the interior of a head?
Well, in this case, we took photographs to document injuries that were present, document there was significant bruising to the scalp that it was difficult to appreciate on the outside of the body. Sometimes there are things on the inside of the body that you can't see on the outside of the body. So in this case, there was significant scalp bruising that you couldn't fully appreciate on the outside of the body, in part because of the changes of decomposition that were taking place. We also documented some other findings too, documented what the brain looked like, documented what the skull looked like, and in some cases we documented the absence of significant findings.
When you first started performing the autopsy, did you have all of the portions of her body?
No. When we began the autopsy on the first day, December the 6th, we did not have the full body.
Okay. Did there ultimately come a time when you received the remaining portions of her remains?
Yes.
And I say her, was this a male or a female?
Female.
And was she identified at the time that you first received her?
No, she was not.
As a medical examiner receiving a person in the condition that you received her, would some of your investigation of the body be in an attempt to assist law enforcement in identifying her?
Yes.
Did you do that in this case as well?
Yes.
What types of steps would you take to try and see if you could assist with identification?
Well, the first step in a case where we don't know who it is would be for us. One of the first steps would be to take fingerprints, if you can, because there's a large databases that can be searched for fingerprints. It's different than something like dental records. For dental records, you really have to know who it might be so you can get their dental records. But for fingerprints, there's large databases that are available that you could potentially test. It also would be important to recover DNA. There's some DNA databases also available. So those are some of the first steps that we took in this case.
And with respect to DNA, as a medical examiner, what do you do to attempt to assist in that process?
We recover DNA from the body.
Okay.
So we'll recover certain blood or tissue that we think would have the best chance for the DNA scientists to be able to use to recover DNA.
Okay. And can you explain what a blood stain card is?
Yeah, blood stain card is basically it's a special card, and you take blood and you spot it onto the card, and then you let the card dry. So it's basically a card with dried blood on it, and it's our typical sample that we use as a DNA collection specimen. Pretty much in every case where we have blood that we autopsy, we will recover a blood card.
And where would the blood card go after you collect it?
The evidence, once we collect our evidence, it's say during an autopsy, the evidence will eventually go to an evidence holding area at the GBI facility, and then from there the evidence will be distributed to whatever branch of the crime lab would do the testing. So if it's a bullet, it will go to the firearms lab. If it's blood for DNA testing, it will go to the DNA or the forensic biology lab.
And in this case, did you take blood stain cards?
Yes.
I'm going to show the witness exhibits, Your Honor, 1.63, 1.64, 1.65, 1.66, and 1.67. May I approach the witness?
Yes, ma'am.
There are gloves if you prefer. Do you recognize the labels that are affixed to each of those exhibits?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize them?
Yeah, they have inscribed the unique case number for this case, and they have an inscription indicating what's present inside the envelope.
Okay. And are those, in fact, the actual bloodstain cards that you prepared and submitted to the crime laboratory for analysis?
Yes, they do appear to be.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd seek to tender State's Exhibits 1, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Any objection? No objection, Your Honor.
They are admitted.
Thank you. Why are there 5 cards?
There are 5 cards because the body was received in 5 pieces. We received a right leg, we received a left leg, we received a head with a portion of the neck, the upper portion of the neck attached, and we received the torso with the lower portion of the neck and the arms attached. So we received the body in 5 pieces. The body had been dismembered. And so we collected a DNA sample from each one of those pieces, in part initially to ensure that they all went with the same person. The DNA from all 5 matched. And then hopefully at some point we'd be able to identify who that person was.
Well, and just for clarification, you've said 5, Doctor. Did you also take a sample from the spleen, or rather the liver inside of the body?
Yes.
Leading.
It is leading, but
I can rephrase.
you can rephrase.
Did you document on each of those bloodstain cards where each item was recovered from?
Yes, I did.
Can you please, looking at the first exhibit that's in your hand, tell us where that one was from?
Yes, this is from the torso, specifically the spleen.
Okay. And what about the next one?
The torso.
So the torso itself was one, and the torso spleen was the second?
That's right, yes.
And what was the third bloodstain card?
The right leg.
And the next?
Left leg.
And the next?
The head.
So there were 5 in total, but those were from the 4 pieces plus the spleen?
That's correct. Yeah, there was.
Or rather, I said the spleen. I meant the liver. My apologies.
No, it was a spleen. You were correct. Yeah, it was. The body was in 4 pieces. That's correct. And there were 5 cards because we collected 2 from the torso. Yes.
Did you also at some point collect from the liver? And if you need something to refresh your recollection, please just let us know, Doctor.
Yes.
Objection to the extent he's looking at his notes right now.
I'll overrule the objection.
You can refresh your recollection.
Yes. Yes, we did collect liver, along with other substances that we would potentially use for toxicology testing. Yes.
Okay. And all of them would have been prepared in the same fashion? Meaning a bloodstain card and then preserved in the way that you've just shown us?
No, the specimens for DNA that we talked about here would have been prepared on a card. The liver, we would have actually saved a relatively small portion of liver, the actual tissue, and saved it and kept it refrigerated for toxicology testing, a different kind of testing than DNA testing.
So, without being graphic, Doctor, does that mean you literally cut a piece of the liver off and preserved it so it could be transported to another section of the laboratory for analysis?
Yes.
That's clearly not in this courtroom today, correct? As far as you know?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. But that is something that you did in this case?
Yes.
Now, when you first testified, you talked about a placard. Your Honor, these are now in evidence and I'd like to publish. That's off, correct? Can you please turn that on now? I'm going to start on image 100, and counsel, if I may approach her. I'm going to start on December 6th with the first image in front of you. Just for the record, so I'm clear, Your Honor, I'm referring to slide 100. And Doctor, if you can assist me, on the back of that exhibit, you'll see that there is a number written of slide 100. Do you see that?
Yes.
Just for your own records, did you have specific numbers associated with each one of the photographs as they were taken by the medical examiner's office in connection with the case?
Yeah. When the photographs are saved, they're digital photographs, so they're saved into a digital file, and each file has a name that has a number.
Okay, so on the back corner of each of those, I'm going to reference the number so that it's clear for the record, Your Honor. And if you would just tell us what exhibit number that is on the back of the card as well, just so the record's clear. So we're talking now, I guess, about exhibit 1.6. It's in front of you, the one I've already handed you, the stack.
Yeah, this is exhibit 1.27.
Thank you, 1.27. And can you tell the jury what's depicted in 1.27?
Yeah, this is the placard that we've discussed. It's basically a placard where we put information about the case at the top. Coastal MEO stands for Medical Examiner's Office. This examination was performed at the Coastal Medical Examiner's Office, which is in the Savannah area. The date that the exam was performed, December the 6th, 2022, and then underneath the unique case number for the case.
And that is all done in an effort to preserve the information, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, if I turn to the next slide, that being 101, that would be 128, is that correct?
1.31.
Oh, my apologies, 1.31. And can you tell us what's depicted there?
Yeah, this is the a label that was on some of the remains were received in a plastic box, and this is the label adjacent to the seal. It shows what the label how the label was inscribed by the individuals at the recovery scene.
So that's not your writing, that's the condition it was received in?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified earlier that these items come in sealed, is that correct?
Yes.
Does that display the seal that you were referring to?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to this, you indicated there were 4 portions of the physical body. Would this have been one portion?
Yes.
I'm now going to slide 103. That is State's Exhibit.
1.28.
And what is depicted there?
This is the photograph of basically the seal and the label put on the body bag, the closed body bag. It's when a body bag has 2 zippers, and when you open the body bag, you spread the zippers out, and when you close it, you bring the zippers together. So the zippers are together here, and the seal and the label are through those 2 zippers, and it shows how the label was. The handwritten label there was labeled by the individuals at the body recovery scene.
Okay. And I'm now turning your attention to slide number 106. And what exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.29.
And what is depicted there?
This is the torso of the decedent. It has the chest and abdomen, the very upper portions of the thighs, and it's got the arms. And it's discolored because it's covered in mud. And then the handbags have been placed around the hands, which is a routine procedure done in potential foul play cases to preserve evidence that might be present there.
Okay. And what kind of bags did you say those were?
Those are brown paper bags, but we call them evidence bags.
Is there a reason that they're paper?
Yes. Plastic. If you have plastic bags, can result in degrading of some of the underlying evidence. So paper is used.
Okay. And was This body does not appear to have clothing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is that the condition it was received in?
Yes.
So it was fully naked?
Yes.
Okay. From looking at this photograph, were you at least able to tell the gender of the individual that was recovered?
Yes.
And that's why you indicated female?
Yes.
I'm now turning to slide 107, which on your exhibit would be what number?
This is 1.30.
Okay. And what does this demonstrate?
This is the other leg, basically the bag that the other leg was received in, and it's similarly labeled. You can see the handwritten label there was prepared by the individuals, the investigators at the body recovery scene.
And if a body comes into the medical examiner's office as an entire person, how many body bags would that come in?
One.
And would there be just one seal?
Yes.
So when there's more than one piece and more than one bag, do you document each of the individual seals?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Because each piece came in separately, so we will document each piece of evidence, each evidence that we received, just to show how it was received for each part.
I'm now turning your attention to slide 109. Can you tell us what exhibit number that is?
Yeah, this is 1.31.
And what is depicted here?
This is the left leg of the decedent.
And was there anything of note when you received the left leg?
Yes. Yeah, there are numerous fly larvae known as maggots on the leg and around in the body bag with the leg. There's discoloration, largely related to likely fly larva activity. And then at on the foot, near the end of the foot where the toes are, there's loss of tissue there that appears to be what we call postmortem animal predation. Basically, where if a body is left outside in an outdoor location, especially in a wooded location, animals can come and will often come and eat portion of the body. So that appears to be postmortem animal predation, where after the death, an animal has come and eaten a portion of the foot.
So as part of your investigation, is it your responsibility to determine what may have caused each of the individual deformities to the body?
Yes.
So even if they're not potentially criminal, you would still document that?
We may. It depends on the case, but yes, we often do.
Okay. And in this case, did you?
Yes.
Okay. So the top of the limb, can you tell the jury, was there anything of significance with respect to the top of the limb?
Yes. At the top, the leg appears to have been. The leg has been cut from the body. There's areas where the skin surface at the skin edge is smooth, consistent with having been cut with a sharp object, and then the bone, the thigh, a portion of the majority of the thigh bone is present in the leg, but the thigh bone, the femur, has been cut there, and so there's the cut end of the femur that's you can see in this photograph.
And can you tell us, doctor, is there anything significant about the femur, specifically in terms of bones in the human body? What's distinctive about it?
The femur, I guess what would be distinctive about it is the biggest bone, the longest bone.
I mean, it keeps us upright, correct?
Yes.
And so would it be fair to say that somebody would not be able to obviously stand without their femur intact, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, you said the femur was cut through?
Yes, it was.
I'm now going to turn your attention to the next photograph. That would be 110. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.32.
Thank you. And what is depicted here?
This is a label, another label for a body bag. And the inscription indicates leg found in the woods of McIntosh County.
Okay, so would this be the other leg in connection with this case?
Yes.
And does this also reflect the manner in which you documented?
Yes.
I'm now drawing your attention to slide 111. Can you tell us what the exhibit number is?
Yeah, this is exhibit 1.33.
And what is depicted here?
This is the other leg. This would be the right leg.
Was there anything that you were able to make as observations with respect to the portion at the top of the thigh?
Similar to the previous leg. The majority of the femur, the thigh bone, is present, but the upper part of the thigh bone has been cut across. There's similar to the other leg, and similar to all the amputation margins. There's decomposition. There's more advanced decomposition right at the margin of where the amputation has occurred. So there's discoloration there that's a result of postmortem decomposition, and there's fly larvae on the body here on this leg as well.
Can you explain to the jury how decomposition perhaps looks different at different portions of this leg, why that would be?
Yeah, the decomposition is more advanced at the place where the amputation was. It may be that there's more. It's a more suitable environment for fly larvae to attack, and also it may be less resistant to the changes of decomposition in the skin. The skin may be a little bit more resistant than exposed other tissue. You can see there's discoloration on the other part of the leg, likely related to fly larval activity, but the exposed tissue is more affected.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Doctor, the last slide that we just looked at, can you pass me that may I, Your Honor?
Yes.
For just a moment.
Yes.
And can you tell us what that exhibit number is?
1.33.
And may I approach?
Yes.
You want to do it? You want to do it?
Thank you, sir. May I have a pen, please? Your Honor, if I can simply clarify for the record, counsel has pointed out to the state that it appears I have inadvertently marked two exhibits 1.31. So the first one will be exhibit 1.31A refers to slide 101, and 1.31B refers to slide 109.
Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
Very well.
So as we progressed through these, we were at slide 111, And we're now moving on to the next slide. That would be slide 120. What exhibit number is that for you, sir?
This is 1.34.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what, if anything, is depicted in that photograph of note to you?
Yeah, this is the end of one of the femurs, and this basically shows where it's cut. So you can see where the bone has been cut, and it's there's yes. So that's what we're showing here.
And was it physically cut all the way through?
It's been completely cut all the way through, but there are portions where the bone appears to have been or has been cut, but at that point wasn't cut all the way through. But obviously it's not attached to the other part, so it's been cut through finally. But yes, there's a portion there where you can see it's been cut only partially.
Okay. So did you have an opportunity to weigh the different items that were received at the laboratory?
Yes.
Okay. And is that customary practice when you perform an autopsy?
Yes. Yeah. We measure the body, basically determine the body length, which is equivalent to the height, and the weight. We determine the weight.
Okay. And so were you able to determine the height and weight of each of the portions of the remains?
Yeah, we weighed each portion, and then we approximated. We put the pieces together and approximated what an overall body length or height would be.
Okay. And is that documented in your report?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to that next photograph, that would be photograph 132. What exhibit number is that for you?
1.35.
And that photograph, what's depicted there?
Yeah, this is the decedent's torso and arms, that specimen, and now we've cleaned it up. So we've cleaned the mud off of it, and so now we can see the body surface.
And did you notice any defects to the body that are depicted in this image?
Yes.
Can you describe them for the jury?
Yes. So there's the defects that we've talked about where the legs were removed. So at the very upper part of both thighs are present, but then there's a large defect where the rest of the legs have been cut from the body, where the body's been dismembered. The same thing at the top in the head, where you can see there's a portion of the spine that's protruding up into the neck. It's the lower portion of the lower fuse vertebrae that correspond to the neck, cervical vertebrae, remain there with very little soft tissue left around it. And then there's a defect around that area. That defect extends into the chest cavities, basically the cavities on the right and left sides of the chest, where the right lung and the left lung are located, and the pericardial sac, where the heart is located. So the defect extends down into there. Normally, these cavities are not exposed. They're covered with skin and subcutaneous tissue, muscle, and bony structures. But in this case, though the bony structures are intact, the soft tissue is not. So the defect up at the top, at the base of the neck there, extends down into the chest cavity and is associated with a loss of tissue. The upper portion of the heart and significant portions of the lung are absent, and appears to be the result of animal predation, where animals have gotten into the body and have taken and presumably eaten portions of the heart and the lungs, and then other of the organs in that area, including the upper part of the esophagus.
With respect to the esophagus and the portion of the neck that is no longer present that you described, did that make this complicated for you in any way in terms of some of your conclusions?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury why and how?
Well, in part to evaluate the ideal is to evaluate the entire body to assess whatever findings might be there, injuries or otherwise. If parts of the bodies are missing, then obviously we can't evaluate those. And if there's the body has been damaged, presumably, say with the cuts to remove the legs and the head, there's damage that's made in those areas. So if there was findings in those areas, injuries or otherwise, it may obscure those and make it difficult or impossible for me to identify those.
Can you tell the jury what asphyxia is?
Yeah, asphyxia is a condition whereby it's a condition whereby oxygen is prevented from getting to the tissues. Our body tissues need certain things, certain nutrients, and one of the things our body tissue needs is oxygen. So when we breathe in oxygen into our lungs, our lungs take the oxygen out of the air, put it in the blood, and then the blood's pumped around to the body and provides that oxygen to the tissue. So if there's some process that interferes with oxygen being delivered to the tissues, that's asphyxia.
And so what is a manner in which an individual can manually be prohibited from receiving oxygen?
Well, one way would be smothering. For example, if a person covers up the airway, the nose and mouth of somebody with something that prevents them able to breathe, that would prevent oxygen from getting into the lungs. That would be one form of asphyxia. Another form would be a neck compression or strangulation. When a neck is compressed in a significant way, and something that we call strangulation, the typical mechanism of injury there is the blood vessels that supply blood to the brain. Those are blocked. So normally the heart pumps blood around to the body, including blood up through the neck into the head. If the neck blood vessels are compressed in a significant way, that can prevent an adequate amount of blood and oxygen from getting to the brain, and that's a form of asphyxia as well.
If you don't have the neck, how does that impact your ability to render a determination if strangulation was present?
Yeah, we're really, if you don't have a neck, there's no way to evaluate injuries in the neck. That's one of the things you look for to evaluate strangulation. You look for injuries in the neck, either on the outside of the neck or on the skin surface and on the inside of the neck. You may get bruising internally, and you may get fractures of some of the structures in the neck, such as the hyoid bone, which is a U-shaped bone in the upper part of the neck, or the larynx, basically the voice box.
So with those being missing, did that make this more difficult for you?
Yes, that would make it more difficult. Now, at this point of the autopsy, those structures were missing. When we recovered the head with a portion of the neck, some of those structures were present. For example, the hyoid bone was present, and a portion of the larynx was present.
But the skin, was that present?
No.
Okay.
At least a portion of it wasn't.
Okay. Were there any other visible defects on the face or front of the body depicted?
Yes.
And what are those?
There are injuries that appear to be what we refer to as sharp force injuries, injuries caused by a sharp object. And there are two superficial such injuries on the right upper chest. The most prominent one is on the inner aspect of the right breast, the vertical linear, several inches in length there on the breast. There's a number of small injuries that look like cuts in the region of the right upper chest as well that you can't see very well in this photograph. And then on the abdomen near the belly button region, there are three areas of defects that in the skin and soft tissue that appear to represent injuries caused by a sharp object.
And then what about the right upper arm? Can you tell us what you observed?
Yes. In the right upper arm, there's a defect in the skin, and there's a large amount of tissue loss there. So there's a significant amount of decomposition here. There's tissue loss, so there may have been animal predation there. There may have been an animal that came in and ate some of the tissue. The bone there, the upper arm bone, the humerus, is exposed, and there on the surface of the bone there are numerous parallel, horizontal, linear cuts in the bone, but they're superficial. They look like there was an attempt to cut the humerus, but then it appears that the attempt to cut the humerus was ceased.
I'm now turning to slide 139. What is that exhibit number for you?
Yeah, this is exhibit 1.36.
Thank you. Can you tell the jury what you see here?
Yeah, so this is the back of the right hand and the right forearm. And on the hand, close to the wrist, there's an area of discoloration that represents bruising. And then on the forearm, you can see two areas of discoloration that also represent bruising. So this is a bruise or a contusion, which is basically an area of bleeding in the tissue caused by impact with a blunt object or surface.
Can you explain to the jury what the phrase defensive wounds means?
Yes. So a defensive wound is a wound that you would receive that you might receive when you're being attacked by someone. If someone is attacking you and striking you with an object, it's what your natural tendency to do is to put your arms up to try to block. And so what may happen if you do block the blows, you'll get injuries on the arm. And so injuries, they're often on the back of the hand and on the back of the forearm. And those are called defensive injuries.
And is it possible that they are potentially also decomposition, meaning that you sometimes see bruising that isn't a defensive wound?
Yeah, so sometimes we'll, as a result of the decomposition process, there may be discoloration of the body that mimics bruising. So sometimes it can be difficult to tell if an area of discoloration represents decomposition or if it represents true bruising.
So what do you do to determine which one it is?
So one of the common things we do is we'll cut into it, because a lot of times if it's decomposition, it will be superficial and it will be involving the skin. If it's bruising, you'll see more typically you'll see more the bruising in the tissue, not just on the skin surface, but underneath the skin. So cutting into the area of discoloration can be very helpful to determine if it's a bruise or if it's decomposition.
Is that routinely part of your autopsy to make those determinations?
Yes, we often do that.
Okay. And in this case, did you find areas that were both bruising as well as potentially decomposition?
Yes.
I'm now going to turn you to slide number 144. Slide number 144. What exhibit number is that for you?
Yeah, this is 1.37.
Thank you. What is depicted in this image?
Yeah, so this is what we were just talking about. This is the right upper arm. There's loss of tissue. A large amount of tissue is lost because you can see the bone there. That white structure there with the dark lines is the bone, and those dark lines, those parallel lines, those represent cuts, superficial cuts into the bone, where it appears there was an attempt to cut that bone, but not a successful attempt. And there's discoloration of the tissue in this area too. This discoloration is similar to the discoloration seen at all the amputation margins. It's related to postmortem decomposition.
Now at slide 145. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.38.
Would it be fair to say that that's simply a close-up of those cut marks?
Yes.
And you indicated what was the nature of those marks? Were they, I believe you said lateral? Is that what you said?
They're horizontal.
Horizontal, my apologies. Okay. And can you tell us anything about the humerus, similarly to as you described the femur? Is there anything distinctive about the humerus?
Yeah, with the humerus, it's sort of the corresponding bone in the arm to the thigh bone in the leg. It's a single long bone in the upper part of the arm, similar to the femur is a single long bone present in the upper part of the leg. And they're fairly thick bones, especially the femur, because as you mentioned, it has to bear the weight of the individual.
I'm now going to slide number 152. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.39.
And can you advise the jury what you observed on the left arm.
Yeah, on the left arm, what's most visible here are two areas of discoloration, one near the wrist and on the forearm, and one a little more towards the middle of the forearm. Those represent abrasions. Abrasion is basically a scrape injury, so it's caused by impact with the body, an impact with a blunt object or surface that causes a scraping of the superficial layer of skin off. So it's basically like if you fall down on the pavement and skin your knee, that's an abrasion. So that's what these two are. They're abrasions that are visible here. In addition, on the back of the hand, near the wrist, there's an area of discoloration that's suggestive of a bruise, but not clearly a bruise. And then on the back of the forearm, sort of in the middle of the forearm, not very visible in this photograph, there is a small bruise.
I'm now going to slide 153. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is exhibit 1.40.
Can you describe what is the condition observed on the left hand?
Yes, it's what we call a washerwoman hand. It's basically, you can kind of see it here. You can see it better if you look at the palm side of the hand, but it's basically where the skin of the hands and feet will get wrinkly if they're exposed to water for a period of time.
So if you stay in the bath too long, for example?
Yes.
Okay. I'm now going to show you the next slide. That would be 156. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.41.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what you see here?
Yeah, this is the palm of the left hand, and you can see better in this photograph the washerwoman change.
Okay. What impact does washerwoman syndrome have with respect to taking fingerprints?
It can theoretically make it more technically challenging, but if all you have is washerwoman change, we should be able to take fingerprints with proper techniques.
What do you do? What's the technique?
Oh, that'd be a better question for the impressions latent print section of the lab to answer.
So you don't do that yourself in the autopsy?
I don't.
Okay. So you would just document it and potentially make it available? Meaning, do you try to do prints anyway?
We do in our lab. We'll take we do some fingerprints in our lab. If they're difficult, traditionally we've used latent prints. Now in the Savannah area lab where this autopsy took place, they don't have access to a latent prints department, so they do the fingerprints there, and they have they're used to taking fingerprints in difficult cases, so they are knowledgeable about techniques. Some of the DIS there, our autopsy assistants there. I'm personally not, but they are.
Okay. And so, as a general rule, you do take autopsy prints, even if they're not, I hate to say, effective. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
We do in certain cases. We don't fingerprint every case. There's certain types of cases that we will perform fingerprints on.
Okay. Now, I'm directing your attention to the next slide, being 158. What exhibit is that for you?
This is 1.42.
And what is depicted here?
Yeah, this is a discoloration. This is the left upper arm. So you can see the elbow on the right side of the screen, and then the underarm region, right where they've got the L-shaped ruler, that's where the underarm region is. So really looking at the upper arm corresponding to the humerus, like we were just talking about. And there's discoloration there on the front of the arm that appears to be a postmortem change. It's not nothing that I could identify as an injury.
So in this particular body's evaluation, you did see items that you were able to clearly say that's not an injury, but rather decomposition or some change due to death?
Yes.
Okay. And does this represent that?
It appears to, yes.
I'm going to now turn you to the next slide. This is 167. What exhibit is that for you?
This is 1.43.
And what is depicted here?
So there are three defects here that look like they were probably caused by something sharp or fairly sharp. 3 defects in this is the front of the abdomen, basically near the belly button. You can see right in the middle of the screen there's the belly button, very close to the middle of these defects.
Those are 167. I'm now moving on to slide 174. Is that what exhibit for you?
1.44.
And are those, again, the right humerus with the cuts at a much closer view?
Yes.
I'm now going to slide 184. What exhibit number is that for you?
1.45.
And what is displayed here?
So this is one of the femur bones, one of the ends of the femur bones. So this is where the femur bone was cut, basically the cut end. And you can see there's a place where there's a fairly smooth cut in the bone that goes through much of the thickness of the bone, but not all of the way.
And is that the condition you received the body in?
Yes.
Now, what did you do with respect to the femur sites during the course of your autopsy?
So we removed the ends of the femurs where they had been cut. We removed the ends and submitted them as evidence so that it could be the potential for evaluation of these cut ends in case it may be useful to know what kind of weapon or what kind of tool might have been used to make the cuts.
Without being graphic, doctor, I'm going to show on myself. So both of the legs were severed, correct?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say that the 2 portions from the lower portion of the thigh and then the 2 portions from the upper portion of the thigh, all 4 of them were cut by your office and turned over to the tool mark section?
Yes.
Okay. So did that preserve then each of the cuts that were performed prior to your receipt and then given to them for examination?
Yes.
And of course, did you mark where your cut was so it was clear?
Yes.
Okay. And I presume you don't do tool mark examination, correct?
That's correct.
I'm now showing you slide 186. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.46.
And can you tell the jury what defects you see on the upper left portion of her back?
Yeah, there's a superficial cut on the left upper back in the shoulder region.
So that was an actual cut.
Yes.
I'm now at slide 189. Can you tell us what exhibit number that is?
At 1.47.
What is displayed here?
So what we've done is we've placed the legs together with the torso just to reapproximate how the body would have been had the legs not been amputated.
And are you able to now see some of the locations where you cut into the bruising or decomposition to make those assessments?
Yes, you can in this photograph, yes.
And where are those incisions?
You can see on the left arm, you can see on the right arm.
Can you also see on the neck area now, perhaps better in this photograph, where the neckline has receded?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can. I'm not sure if it's better vantage point in this photograph or not.
Okay. What is that that's sticking out from the neck area?
That's the spine. So those are the lower cervical spinal, the vertebrae, the bones of the spine that correspond to the lower part of the neck.
So if her body had been intact, would that not then have had all of the skin up to her chin, essentially?
Yes.
Is that present in that last photograph? That skin?
No, no, that's absent there.
Okay. I'm now directing your attention to December 9th of 2022. Did you conduct a second portion of the autopsy in this case?
Yes.
What did you perform the autopsy on that date?
I'm sorry?
What portion of her remains did you perform the autopsy on that date?
Oh, yeah, the head and then the upper portion of the neck that remain attached to the head.
What is depicted in slide 191? And what exhibit number is that? My apologies.
Yeah, this is exhibit number 1.48, and this is a placard. It basically shows the same thing as that we saw in the previous placard, except the date is different. The date is now lists December the 9th, 2022.
And presumably, if you had all of these pieces on the same day, would you have performed the autopsy simultaneously?
Yes.
Did you have them all on the same day?
No.
Is that why there's a lapse in time?
Yes.
When you received the head, was that received separately?
Yes.
And was that also received in a sealed condition? If you need to refresh your recollection, just let us know.
Okay.
Do you need to, sir?
I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, I've got that. It was received in a body bag with a tag indicating an unidentified body from Liberty County.
Okay. And on December 9th, would this placard have been made by whom?
By the staff at the Coastal Medical Examiner's Office.
Did they assist you?
Yes.
Okay. I assume you don't make your own plaques normally.
No, not normally.
Okay. I'm now directing your attention to slide 192. Can you tell us what exhibit number that is?
Yes, this is State's Exhibit 1.49.
Okay. And states 1.49, what's depicted there?
Yeah, so this is the body bag. Again, the zippers are closed. You can see the seal here, the red seal, and then you can see the handwritten labels on the attached to the zipper, attached to the zippers of the closed body bag.
Directing your attention to slide 194, what exhibit number is that?
1.50.
What's depicted here?
This is the decedent's head, and so you can see on the left side of there's her hair, and then on the right side her face. It's a little hard to make out because her face is covered in mud, so it's a dark color similar to the color of the hair.
I'm now turning you to slide 195. What exhibit number is that?
1.51.
What vantage point does this provide?
This is the face. So we're looking at her face, and you can see it's still discolored with dark. It's got mud on it.
Can you tell anything about her eyes?
Well, her left eye, you can see the surface of her left eye, and the cornea appears clouded, which is a change that occurs as a part of postmortem decomposition.
Can you explain to the jury what happens, if anything, with respect to eye color during decomposition?
Well, eye color after death can change, and so it's not necessarily a reliable indicator of the color of the eyes during life. And with decomposition, you can get clouding of the corneas, so so you may not be able to identify at all the color of the eyes.
Did there come a time when you cleaned off her face and head?
Yes.
I'm going to direct your attention to the next slide, slide number 196. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.52.
What, if anything, did you observe about her face?
Yeah, there's discoloration on the face. The discoloration on the face in various areas is consistent with change of postmortem decomposition. She did have some discoloration in her eyes, in the white portion of her eyes, the sclera. It was unclear to me if that discoloration was related to decomposition or was related to trauma.
I'm directing your attention now to slide 203. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is 1.53.
What's depicted on the right part of her face?
Yeah, so there's two defects in the scalp. We've pulled the scalp back. This is the very forward part of the scalp, so very close to the forehead. It looks like the forehead here, but we've pulled the scalp away so that the injuries are visible, and you can see these two defects in the skin there. There's these are two of a total of 9 similar appearing defects that are present on the scalp, including here on the right frontal area, also on the top of the scalp on the left side and near the midline, and on the back of the scalp. These appear to be lacerations. The decomposition makes it a little challenging to sometimes distinguish between incisions and lacerations. Incisions are defects caused by a sharp object. Lacerations are defects caused by a non-sharp object, a blunt object. These appear to be most likely laceration. There's a little bit of irregularity associated with it, and in some of these there is tissue bridging when we look in the depth. That's a feature that we see in lacerations, but not in incisions. So this appears to be 2 of 9 lacerations that are present on the scalp. And there's discoloration here that represents contusion. It's not clear from the external examination that it's contusion, but when we opened the head and reflected the scalp, looked at the undersurface of the scalp, it was clear that there was a significant amount of contusion or bruising in the area where these lacerations were located.
Would that be consistent with being struck?
Yes.
And you said a laceration was blunt as opposed to a cut, correct?
Yes.
I'm looking at slide 204. Is that the, what exhibit?
Exhibit 1.54.
And would that be the closer version of what you just described?
Yes.
Is that how you were able to see the irregularity you just described? Meaning
Yes.
not from a cut versus a laceration.
Yes.
I'm now looking at slide 206. Can you tell us what exhibit number?
Yeah, this is 1.55.
And was there any observations to the left side of her face or skull?
Yeah, there's discoloration. There's some discoloration here on the left side of the face, including in the left forehead. I could not identify these to be injuries. These areas of discoloration are consistent with change of postmortem decomposition.
And I'm now at slide number 207. What exhibit number?
1.56.
Would that be the area that you indicated was decomposition and not an actual injury?
It did. Yes, it did appear to be postmortem decomposition.
I'm looking now at slide number 225. Can you tell us what exhibit number?
Uh, 1.57.
What is depicted here?
So this is the scalp, and what we've done is we've removed all the scalp hair so that we can better evaluate the scalp surface and see what injuries may be present. And you can see we're looking at sort of the back of the head, really. The top of the head is towards the right side of the screen. The sort of the top of the neck is on the left side of the screen, and the right ear is at the bottom of the screen. The left ear is at the top of the screen. So you can see over the left side of the scalp and midline scalp, there's multiple lacerations. These are similar in appearance to the 2 that we saw on the right forehead. So a total of 9, and these here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this photograph. Some of these lacerations were full thickness, meaning they went all the way through the scalp to the underlying skull, and some of them were partial thickness.
Was there any damage to the skull itself that you were able to observe at any point during the autopsy?
One of the laceration on the back of the one that's the farthest on the left, shown here in the photograph, that one, there was a 1/4 inch defect in the surface of the skull that was consistent with a skull fracture.
I'm now looking at the slide that is labeled X-ray 2. What exhibit number is that for you?
This is Exhibit 1.58.
Would it be fair to say that this is an X-ray?
Yes.
Does this demonstrate anything with respect to the femurs?
Yes.
What does it show?
Yeah, you can see with the proximal part of the femurs, the upper part of the femurs are present and go into the hip socket like the femurs normally do, but you can see where they've been cut only a short distance from the hip joint.
And how is the hip joint kept in place? Meaning, is there tissue that keeps it in place?
Yes.
Is it a bone that keeps it in place? How does your leg stay attached?
Yeah, it's a whole joint apparatus with cartilage and soft tissue and bone all together that holds it in place.
And so would it be fair to say that you could cut through the tissue without cutting through the bone to remove the leg? And what I mean by that is the bone itself doesn't have to be cut, does it?
That's correct. You could potentially remove the leg without cutting through the femur.
I'm now showing you X-ray number 3. What exhibit is that for you?
It is 1.59.
And which leg does this display? Is it clear or is that not clear?
It's not. It appears to be the right leg.
Okay.
Yes, based on the R in the top left-hand corner of the X-ray.
Okay. And X-ray number 4, the next slide, what exhibit is that?
This is 1.60.
And what is depicted here?
And this is one of the legs.
Is that an X-ray also?
Yes.
Does that show the distal or the lower portion of both of the leg X-rays where the femur is?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Does that, what part of the femur does that show?
Yeah, so the part of the femur here is most of the femur, but the very upper part of the femur is absent because it's been severed.
And with respect to X-ray 5, what's depicted in, what exhibit rather is that for you first?
1.61.
Okay, and what is depicted here?
And this is an X-ray of the head and the upper portion of the neck.
You can, Madam Clerk, can we turn that off, please? Thank you. Doctor, so those images, would it be fair to say that those were images all that you took in connection with performing your autopsy?
Yeah. All of these photographs that we've looked at today were some of the photographs that were taken during the autopsy.
Yeah, we use those.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll take a short break. Go ahead.
Doctor, can you explain to the jury what the difference is between a post-mortem and ante-mortem injury?
Antemortem injury is an injury that occurs during life while someone is alive. A postmortem injury is an injury that occurs after they had already died.
Are you able to distinguish between post-mortem and ante-mortem injuries?
Often, but not always.
Okay. Were you able to determine in this case whether or not the dismemberment was ante-mortem or post-mortem?
Not definitively from the autopsy alone, but it's presumed that a situation like this, that the dismemberment is very likely post-mortem as a result of trying to make the body more easy to hide and dispose of.
Okay. And in a dismemberment, specifically in the area, and I'm going to approach somewhat, where it involves the femur, are there any particular vessels or veins in the body that are relevant in the area surrounding the femur?
Yes.
What are those?
Yes, so there's large blood vessels that carry blood basically from the heart. You have blood vessels that go out to all parts of the body to carry blood to all the tissue in the body. And there's large blood vessels in both the arms and the legs, larger in the legs than in the arm. the leg is larger than the arms. But they're large blood vessels that travel down the leg to provide blood, and they also have blood vessels that bring blood back the other way. Arteries carry blood away from the heart to the tissues. Veins are blood vessels that carry blood from the tissues back to the heart. So there are large blood vessels in the upper parts of the thighs, the femoral artery and the femoral vein, and in the arms as well, in the shoulder region, the brachial artery and brachial vein.
And those arteries that you're describing, both in the legs, are there any in the neck?
Yes.
Any particular arteries that would be relevant in terms of large amounts of blood coursing through that area?
Yes, yeah. The largest blood vessels that go to and from the neck are the carotid arteries and the jugular veins.
And if any of those were to be severed, meaning the femoral or the carotid or any of those that you've just described as, quote, the larger vessels, what would the effect of that be to the blood within them?
Yeah, well, if a person's alive, when you cut those vessels, there'll be a very large amount of bleeding from those vessels.
And if a person is dead, how does that impact it?
You would have less bleeding for sure because you don't have an active blood pressure. You know, when you're alive, you have a heart pumping blood all around the body, and there's active blood pressure. When the person has died, then there's no blood being pumped around. So now any movement of the blood in the vessels draining out or whatnot will be via gravity.
So gravity does still apply, though, correct?
Yes.
So, for example, if I were to lift physically a limb that had been severed, would blood potentially come out of the artery even if they were not still alive?
I would expect so, yes.
Okay. What about a torso with 2 legs removed? Would
Yes.
that bleed?
I would expect so, yes.
Even if the bleeding was in the form of potentially gravity, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How much blood is there in the human body?
For an average sized person, about 5 liters.
And if you're bigger, for lack of a nice way to phrase that, would there be more blood?
Yes.
Okay, so 5 liters approximately. Can you tell us what that means in America standard?
Yeah, so a liter is about a quart. So 5 liters would be approximately, a liter is approximately a quart. So 5 liters would be approximately 5 quarts.
Okay. And how many quarts make a gallon?
4 quarts.
Okay, so we're talking about just over a gallon of blood, correct me if I'm wrong, or a gallon and a quart.
Yes, approximately.
And so if a person were to be dismembered and moved, you would still expect to potentially see blood that had been drained from the body due to gravity.
Yes.
Is it possible to interfere with that blood being observed, perhaps in the form of tarps or some other mechanism?
Yes.
And do you have any way of knowing when you look at a body when the blood left the body? What I mean is when you get a body at autopsy in the condition you received it in, do you have any idea when the blood left the body?
No, I mean, what I could say is I can say that the lacerations to the scalp were sustained when the decedent was alive, and I would expect a significant amount of bleeding from those wounds. As far as from post-mortem cutting of the body, could you repeat the question?
What I'm simply trying to ask is there a time stamp basically on when the blood may have left her person?
Yeah, if you're asking, do I know at what point after she passed away were her limbs severed and blood drained from the body? I don't know.
Okay. Do you have any idea when she died? Exactly.
Well, I can't, from the autopsy, I can't state specifically when she died. I would use usually investigative means are the most accurate way of determining when a person died. So in this case, I would use investigative means, including in this case a forensic entomologist was used. I would use that information along with investigation of the case.
Okay. So There are lots of TV shows nowadays that have doctors constantly being asked, when did she die? Can you tell this jury within a 2-hour window when she passed away?
No.
And with respect to her body, did you collect any samples? We talked about those bloodstain cards, but did you take any samples to send off to toxicology?
Yes.
Okay. What did you send them, if you recall?
Yeah, they were, and I'll look at my autopsy report copy here. We sent left chest fluid, gastric contents, liver, spleen, and kidney.
Okay. And of those samples, you said gastric contents, liver, spleen, and kidney. Was the liver, spleen, and kidney tissue?
Yes, it was.
Did you send any actual blood?
No.
Meaning live blood?
No.
When I say live, I mean liquid is what I'm referring to.
No, we were not able to.
Why not?
There wasn't, we weren't able to obtain enough blood to be able to send for toxicology testing.
Is that because she didn't have any?
Yeah, it's because, the blood that she had left was not accessible by us. There may have been small amounts in very small blood vessels, but in the larger blood vessels where we collect blood from, where we're able to collect blood from, we were unable to. The lower leg being cut would have resulted in all the blood draining out. That's one area we get blood from, the upper thigh and the pelvis region. And then we also obtain blood from around the heart. And due to animal predation, the upper part of the heart was missing in this case. So there was no significant amount of blood. We could get enough blood for blood cards, but we couldn't get enough blood to do any meaningful toxicology testing. That's usually our first choice sample to test is the blood.
So did you try?
We attempted to get blood, yes.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what the explanation or difference is between cause of death and manner of death?
Yeah, the cause of death is the very specific thing that results in the death, and there's many different types of causes of death. You can have traumatic causes of death such as gunshot wounds, stab wounds, strangulation, blunt force injuries. You can have natural disease causes of death like stroke, heart attack, hypertensive heart disease, cancer. So there's very many different types of causes of death. For manner of death is a classification system that we have. And here in Georgia, we have 5 options for manner of death. So the options are all deaths have to fall into one of these 5 categories. And these categories are: 1, a natural. Basically, if somebody dies as a result of a natural disease process, such as a heart attack or cancer, that's a natural death. Another choice we have is accident. So if a person dies under accidental circumstances, and common examples we see of accidental circumstances are people that die in car accidents and people that die from accidental drug overdoses, where they have a drug overdose but they weren't attempting to take their own life. Another choice we have is suicide. So if a person basically takes their own life by their own actions, then that's a suicide. The 4th choice we have is homicide. And homicide is basically a death caused by the actions of another individual, usually where there's intent to injure. And then if we can't decide whether the death is natural, accident, suicide, or homicide, we have the option for calling it undetermined.
And in this case, were you able to determine a cause of death?
Yes.
And what was your determination?
Traumatic injuries?
And were you able to determine the manner of death?
Yes.
And what was that?
Homicide.
So by determining homicide, did you rule out the other 4 options you just described?
Yes.
Now, doctor, during the course of your findings, did you determine whether or not the victim ever was identified?
Yes.
And did you ultimately determine if she had been?
Yes, she was identified.
Did you ultimately issue some secondary report concerning that?
Yes.
What does that mean? How do you do that?
Yes, so in this case, it was determined primarily through DNA testing the identity of the decedent, and then what we'll do is we'll put a report in our lab information system, basically stating that the body has been identified, and indicate who it is identified as.
Did you issue such a report in this case?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Now, at this time, Your Honor, I'm going to seek to introduce State's Exhibit 1.68. This would be a certified copy of the Georgia death certificate for Mindi Mebane Kassotis.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
And again, doctor, you don't do the DNA that made that determination, correct?
That's correct.
Now, you indicated at some point that you had tested and opened her body. Did you also happen to have an opportunity to examine her uterus?
Yes.
Did you determine if she was pregnant?
There's no evidence of pregnancy.
And if she had had an estimated due date of January of 2023, and she was allegedly found on December 2nd of 2022, be fair to say that's very far along in the gestation period of a human being?
Yes.
Would you expect to find a fetus at that point?
Yes.
And did you find anything that would be indicative of the fact that she was pregnant at the time of her death?
No.
I have just one moment. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examination, Mr. Weinstein.
Good afternoon, Dr. Lehman.
Good afternoon.
I know you've had a long day, so I won't keep you long. My name is Doug Weinstein. I'm Mr. Kassotis' lawyer in this case. I'd like to return for a moment to the lacerations on the scalp. You found 9 lacerations, correct?
Yes.
And those lacerations, you believe, were caused by a blunt object.
Yes.
Do you have any idea how heavy that object would have been? Anything at all about the object other than that it's a blunt object?
Yes, it would have to be something with a significant amount of weight. It would have to be a heavy enough object to where if it impacted the head, it had the potential to putting a defect in the scalp that goes the full thickness of the scalp.
And the scalp is heavily vascularized, correct?
Yes.
And can you explain to the jury what vascularized means?
Yeah. So it means that there's a lot of blood vessels, a lot of blood flow that goes to the scalp. So if you have a scalp injury, you're likely to potentially have a significant amount of bleeding, what appears to be a large amount of blood.
So with a single laceration to the scalp, one that does the extent of damage that you've described, you would expect to see a great amount of blood, correct?
Potentially you could, yes.
What about with 2 lacerations?
You would expect even more.
And with 9?
Yeah, even more so. Yes, you'd expect. I would expect the scene where the incident occurred to be have more than a small amount of blood.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
No
Oh, I'm sorry. May I just
Yes, sir.
get court's indulgence?
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you very much.
Can the doctor be excused?
No objection from the state.
All right. Thank you, doctor. Safe travels.